C'est ça problème qui nous en est. C'est ça problème qui aujourd'hui nous nous pas faire re-rating là. Nous pas discuter le ban dissuasive sanctions qui nous en a et le ban habilité pour nous freeze ban ill-gotten gains. Et nous pas expliquer qui nous en a.
D'accord.
Merci,
Panel
Mr.
in
Chairman.
l'explication. On nous move on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we move on to the next section, which is section.
Honorable, moi, nous fini exhaust sabot, panel in l'explication, et nous pouvons move on. OK? Nous pouvons continuer un argument en deux côtés. On fait sortir un point, honorable Marine met l'emphase là, panel in son explication. OK? Nous pouvons move on. OK? Nous avons un time constraint aussi. Honorable Pilé.
Merci, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, nous arrivons là, section. Ça passe. Est-ce que l'honorable Georgine capture l'amendement proposé par ACCS regarding within the jurisdiction? About 74-1. Okay, all right. Thank you. So, nous arrivons à la section 86, which is the next section qui nous a, qui si ça explique un conseil nous là. Je ne sais pas si les autres membres, Mr. Chairman, il n'y en a aucun des autres conseils avant le 81-6. Bon, nous allons. Merci, Mr. Chairman, honorable George, fait mon signal qu'il retourne au 74-1. Just so that nous gagnons l'agrément avec l'autorité pour faire ci, pour dire the wording is correct.
Ça.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Within the jurisdiction is fine, but then on fait dès les autres amendements. Nous tenons his or her, et puis partout après il arrive là, il retourne là, alors on a tout chi. Et mon sens nearby, mon fait in the vicinity, because nearby was a bit colloquial, if that's okay.
OK, honorable Pilé.
Merci, Mr. Chairman. I think we're fine. Mon panélistes est OK avec ça. So we move on to 81-6, Mr. Chairman. About 81-6, il y a un concern qui est raised by the trade regarding the nomenclature, the word used. Qui dit no application in the subsection 2 shall be entertained. The trade is taking some concern, to express some concern regarding the word entertained. Et je connais why use the word entertained and not a more appropriate wording. Peut-être ça y a une question que Mr. Rao et de l'Assemblée, so that we can move on.
Yes, Mr. Rao.
We can amend by removing the word entertained by the court. In that place, we can say, no application under subsection 2 shall be filed before the court if it is submitted after 2 years.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have a problem with entertained. I think it's a perfect word. I think this is exactly what it means. The court will not entertain any application if it is submitted more than 2 years. I think it's you could use considered, but I think entertained is the word that we use normally in such situations.
Merci, honorable George. CEO.
E j'espère que ça que honorable George dit et ce qu'il a qu'au service à mot entertain. Merci.
Okay. Honorable Pile.
Merci, Mr. Chairman. We move to the next section, which is section 92.2. And that is part, which is the last section of this part where there is an issue again raised regarding a word used, which is the word remuneration, Mr. Chairman. So under 92.2, concern is raised where we have the sentence, following the payment of any expenses or remuneration in accordance with subsection 1. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
OK. Nous les distinguons salaire, expenses et salaire. Si un consultant gagne un salaire, pas gagne expenses, so ça même ça là. Merci.
Yes,
On
Honorable Pile.
a une question, we demander.
Oui.
Is the remuneration paid out of the fund or into the fund? Is that we need to clarify, because what you've said here is that paid into the asset recovery fund. So, on peut imaginer, vous pour servir ARF pour payer un consultant. So, it will be paid out of the fund, not into, no? Say clarifier ça pour nous, please.
Yes, Mr. Rao.
This remuneration under section 92 is linked with subsection 2 of section 90. The remuneration is being paid to the receiver who has been appointed by the court to recover the penalty order. Once he recovers the pecuniary penalty order money, then he will deduct the expenses incurred for recovering that money, and he will deduct his remuneration also. Then the rest of the amount will be credited into the asset recovery fund.
OK. Bon, nous prenons deux parts ensemble. Là. Nous prenons part 9 et 10.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Basé sur le bon commentaire qui nous en a, nous passons à notre part. So, pour rester nous présents quand on arrive, yeah. So, nous prenons les deux parts ensemble. Après, on va continuer au 11.
Oui. Honorable George.
Honorable George, il y en a un chose à ajouter.
Merci, Mr. Chair. Je ne suis pas encore clair qui c'est ça que nous décidons de faire avec 92.2. À cause, est-ce que nous disons nous pour quitter our remuneration ou bien nous pour tirer? À cause, si nous quittons là, 92.1 only speaks of expenses. 92.1 says, the money be applied to meet expenses incurred in exercising any powers under this act, and remuneration is an expense. So why do we need in 2 to now go to remuneration when we've already defined expenses as being incurred under any powers under this act? À cause nous pas c'est or remuneration. À cause ça, nous est-ce qu'il y a une autre catégorie expense encore qui pas ni remuneration, il y a l'autre quelque chose encore.
Mr. Rao.
The remuneration is linked to section 90, subsection 2. Remuneration to the receiver.
Yes, that's not disputed. But the remuneration is an expense. And if we don't use the word expenses in 92.1, why do we use it in 92.2? That's the point we're making. In 92.1, it says to meet expenses incurred in exercising powers in this act, which includes remuneration to liquidators. So why do we need to specify it in 2 if we haven't specified it in 1? Why don't we just get rid of it in 2? And generically, expenses will cover remuneration and other things.
Thank you, Honorable George. Panel? Accepted? Panel? Okay. Accepted, Honorable George. Remuneration goes. OK? Honorable Pile, nous arrivons à la fin.
Mr. Chairman, oui, nous arrivons à la fin, sa part. Et the next part would be part 11. So
Mais
at
nous
this time,
pouvons prendre vote. Nous pouvons prendre vote le SAD pas séparé. Nous pouvons prendre vote le part 9, qui compris clause 68 jusqu'à 77. Et pareil, il y a demandé et qui ne forme pas de sa bill, mais va demander tout le monde qui en faveur. Aucun membre qui compte. Madame Deputy Clerk.
Merci, M. Chair. Je recorde 21 membres qui votent en faveur et personne contre. Merci.
Merci. Ça veut dire part 9, il est approuvé par l'Assemblée, as amended. Part 10, qui compris, nous prenons vote le part 10, qui compris clause 78 jusqu'à 92. OK. Et il y en a un petit amendement, des petits amendements qui ont fait. Mon matin pendant un débat typos aussi qui on a besoin pour take care of. Je vais demander tout le monde qui faveur, part 10 qui ne forme pas sa bill. Aucun membre qui compte. Madame Deputy Clerk.
Merci, M. Chair. Excuse-moi, je dit bonjour, M. Chair, bonjour, ministre, et délégation et tout le monde et tout le monde qui l'écoute. Je recorde 20 membres qui votent en faveur et personne contre. Merci.
Merci, Madame Deputy Clerk. Ça veut dire part 10 est approuvé par la nationale. Nous allons à présent move le part 11, Asset Recovery Fund. On aura appelé?
Merci, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, par exemple, nous avons cause de Asset Recovery Fund. Premier concern qui a expressed regarding Section 94(2)(c). Any voluntary payment, grant or gift made by person, blah, 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 blah. The CIFSA's comments recommends that the ML committee recommends. So CIFSA peut dire, the ML committee qui recommend to the cabinet for the sharing of assets. The other question is why is the cabinet not making the decision rather than the AML committee recommending to the cabinet?
Panel?
Okay.
Minister?
Merci, Monsieur Chairman. Monsieur Chairman, pareil, moi, qui mentionnais, étant moi, qui fait mon conclusion après nous discute le mérite de sa bill, moi, qui fait un commentaire en ce qui concerne ça. Et raison à cause nous implique cabinet, c'est spécialement quand il concerne l'autre pays. Et pareil, on connaît relations diplomatiques entre les différents pays. Il y en a certaines variances. Donc, c'est à cause de ça qui nous les fait ici, qui cabinet est capable en son délibération, là. Mais certainement, nous pouvons mener dans la régulation un procédé qui peut établir qui manière nous pour faire ça. So voilà vraiment à cause il y en a sa regard cabinet, sa décision finale. Merci, Monsieur Chairman.
Merci, ministre. Honorable George.
Merci, Mr. Chair. Parle au point. En effet, mon croire qui c'est 94.2D can a cabinet, oui? To share property with foreign states with the approval of the cabinet. Je ne pas croire qui ban les autres quelque chose besoin de cabinet, c'est le ministre qui autorise le paiement pour ban les autres. Je suis content si je propose un amendement typographical, mais à cause de nous là, on va profiter pour dire là 94.2C to mete out the expenses of the prosecution division. It should be to meet the expenses. You mete out a punishment, not an expense, and the mete out a punishment is METE. So when you meet the expenses, nous pas croire nous besoin d'un ça mot out. So with your permission, we will delete it.
Honorable Pilet.
Merci, Mr. Chairman. L'autre section qui, si ça exprime concerne Lola regarding 94.2F, moi pour juste checker si it's the right section. Okay. Et concernant les autres annonces, j'ai demandé c'est who shall be the innocent third parties who may benefit from the fund. Pour l'Assemblée, nous avons avoir pour dire sa section 94.2F fait référence avec paying innocent third parties for interest in the property as appropriate. Okay, et l'autre concern c'est who will establish the grievance, FIU. So their question is the objective of the fund has to be clear. So peut-être le ministère des Finances est capable d'élucider us on this issue. Thank you.
Panel, SS Payet.
Mr. Chair, juste pour pareil, ministère INSI, en bas section 93.3, the minister may be by regulation regulate administration and management of the fund. So définitivement pendant propre procédure qui nous permettait en bas régulation pour faire ci qui administration et manage the fund est vraiment clair. So, advice que nous pouvons donner, c'est définitivement en bas régulation. Ça nous permet un peu plus de détails. Merci, Mr. Chair.
Merci, SS. Any other comments? Honorable Henry.
Merci, Mr. Chair. Mon peut get 94.2G. Authorized payment for public sector community projects and training of public sector. Moi apprécie ça réinvestissement. Seulement dans mon public sector community projects, moi il y a un peu il y a une certaine restriction à cause nous pas mettre aussi involve ou soit satisfait pour dire dans social programs. À cause par exemple on peut imaginer Transparency Initiative, l'équipe des affaires et travail contre corruption, est capable peut-être apply for something under this fund pour être capable mobiliser le public contre ça si c'est corruption. Merci.
Merci, honorable. Panel. SS.
Merci, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, mon proposal from honorable nous agree, c'est nous avons ça mon public sector et nous quitte community project. Merci.
OK, d'accord. Honorable George, on take note.
Fini fait, Mr. Chair. What about training of the public sector? Est-ce qu'il nous peut envier aussi training of more than the public sector or not?
Panel.
We leave it at just training?
And training.
Yes?
Yes. Honorable Afif.
Merci, Monsieur Chairman. Monsieur Chairman, moi, j'ai envie de demander au ministre, les Montpellier 94.1, si vous explique-nous, ça bon l'argent qu'ils ont pris de sa fond pour l'argent qui, disons, ils ont saisi ou bien n'arrive crime qu'ils ont pas. Pour exemple, essentiellement, bonne dépense en bas là, moi pas imaginer pour bonne gros dépense spécialement. Est-ce que ça bonne dépense il gagne contrôlé par lesquels parce qu'il pas une dépense en bas consolidated funds ça. excess qui a dans Consolidated Fund. Mais par exemple, il y a des gens qui ont pour payer, les autres dépenses qu'ils ont pour faire. Lesquels qui régulent tout ça là, gagnent audité, pas aucun des gens. C'est ça mon question. Merci.
Merci, honorable. Panel.
Merci, Monsieur Chairman, merci, honorable. Honorable, tout ça là, c'est un pour moi. Il est clair dans la loi. Mais par ailleurs, nous avons un mécanisme important qui nous besoin respecter, nous besoin auditer ça à fond, etc. So, ça pour en à l'étape. Mais tout l'argent est pour moi, merci.
Merci, ministre. Honorable Afif.
Merci. Juste, mon comprends ça que le ministre peut dire, mais juste, moi le dit là-dedans, il ne permet aucun endroit pour dire it's being audited. Il ne permet. Et peut-être ça va être important. Juste un ligne pour dire ça. Merci.
Merci. Panel. Mr. Rao.
That is purely a procedural aspect. That's why it can be incorporated in the regulations being made under subsection 1 of subsection 3 of section 93.
OK. D'accord. Honorable Pilé.
Merci. Mr. Chair, moi suis l'argument qui l'honorable Afif raise. Moi, quoi, nous apprendre from un conseil, man six qui gagne raise. Fait ça clair, on va ajouter une clause là, 4, and the ARF shall be audited by the Attorney General as per Constitution.
Three pas couvert. May by regulations regulate the administration and management of the ARF.
Usually, Mr. Chairman, qui nous en ce qui concerne auditing by the Auditor General, the clause is specific and clear and it's in the law. It doesn't come in a regulation. For the avoidance of doubt and to err on the side of caution, there is a standard clause that we use. The drafter can find the clause and we can add it there. I think that would be the best option.
Thank you, honorable. Est-ce qu'il peut être honorable George and sa standard clause qui nous mettait with regards to auditor? Et nous le faire entrer là. Ministre?
Merci, Monsieur Chairman. Monsieur Chairman, si nous allons au 93 et dans sa séquence 1 des 3, il est préférable nous mettre clause 3 que nous proposons l'audit après ça 3 à 24. Quelquefois nous proposons comme ça. Merci.
Merci, ministre. Nous besoin faire entrer avant nous prendre un vote. OK. Est-ce que c'est acceptable? Asset Recovery Fund shall be audited by the Auditor General. Honorable Pilé.
I'm going to propose a wording. If I miss anything, Honorable George, you have a capture. Si nous dit pour dire the accounts of the ARF shall be audited by the Auditor General in accordance with Article 158, 3 of the Constitution.
158. OK. D'accord?
On the board, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Panel est d'accord? OK. So, nous arrivons à la fin, part 11, Asset Recovery Fund, qui compris des clauses 93-94 et qui m'a gagné amendé. Je vais demander tout, et il ne faut pas de sa bill. Je vais demander tout membre qui en faveur. Aucun membre qui compte. Madame Deputy Clerk.
Merci, Mr. Chair. 22 membres, ils votent en faveur et personne contre. Merci.
Merci, Madame Deputy Clerk. Ça veut dire part 11 à cette Recovery Fund, as amended, est approuvé par l'Assemblée nationale. Bon, nous, je crois que nous poussons les panélistes, qui peut comprendre, il y en a des changements. Nous allons faire les, avant nous prendre part 12, miscellaneous provisions. Bon, nous welcome M. Rampal avec Miss Hall Baclo panel pour nous penser à l'autre part dans bill qui est devant nous. Honorable Pilet.
Merci, Mr. Chairman. So nous prenons part 12, which is miscellaneous. Et nous premier concern qui nous a exprimé, il est section 102. On va connaître les autres membres, il n'y en a aucun les autres concerns.
Yes, Honorable George.
Merci, Mr. Chair. 98-1. Mon entry concern, 98-2. 98-1 and 98-2. Reporting entity directors, employees shall not be liable for prosecution for any acts done in good faith. That's the norm. Mais là, dans ça, nous avons prosecution or any civil litigation. That goes way, way beyond. Qui m'a eu pour dire que un monde qui senti qui il a affecté pour qu'il y ait un cas civil contre ça va dire tout le temps nous dit prosecution that's fine. Because this is a matter for the state. The state can decide. Mais comment il peut dire que un monde pas capable un cas civil even if the act is done in good faith, if it affects him. Dans l'article 1382, sub-article 5 of the Civil Code, which says, liability for intentional or negligent harm is a matter of public policy and cannot be excluded. So, see, prosecution n'a pas problème. But what was the thinking behind relieving them of civil liability as well? Ça, on ne pas comprendre.
Merci, Honorable. Panel. Yes, Mr. Stevenson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think the intention here is we want to try to find that I think what's critical, if I understand the issue as you raise, is we're talking about if they're acting in good faith, there should be a civil litigation protection if they're acting in good faith in the sense that you don't want supervisory authorities to do their job and they're acting in good faith and they could face civil litigation, even if they're acting in good faith and they're successful in that civil litigation, they could incur a lot of, good attorneys like yourself are quite costly, and they could lose a lot of money. So you don't want them to be afraid to enforce their action if they're acting in good faith. I think with this good faith clause in this, I think protecting them from civil litigation is appropriate, because I wouldn't want the supervisors to be leery about civil litigation, even if they knew that they would ultimately win. It still could be cost prohibitive in getting a legal defense along those lines. So I think as long as they're acting in good faith, I think that it makes sense. It seems like a normal practice to me, and I think that was the intent of this.
Honorable George.
I knew this is what was going to be the answer, Mr. Chair, and I sympathize up to a point. But you see, we don't have any civil litigation brought against any supervisory authority is going to be defended by the Attorney General anyway, so they will not incur any pecuniary liability. They're going to be taken care of by the state. The state will defend them, be their lawyer, so they won't have to dig into their pockets. And if they are found liable, the state will pay, because the state is vicariously liable for their action. But why should the person who is civilly affected not have the right to bring civil litigation? Because what you're doing now is you're not saying he will be indemnified. That's fine, he's going to be indemnified anyway by the state. You're saying you cannot bring civil litigation. Today, I can bring civil litigation against the police, who is acting in good faith. If a police officer comes into my home and acting in good faith does something to damage my property, they're acting in good faith, but they damage my property, I sue them and I'll win, and the state will pay me. So why should that not be allowed? That's the point I'm trying to make, because you're curtailing a right which is not going to affect them, because they're going to be indemnified, because they will have been acting in the course of their employment by the government, so therefore the government will be liable for all pecuniary penalties. What you don't want them to do is to go to jail. That's fine, that's why the prosecution is there. But why prevent somebody who is affected, notwithstanding by a good faith performance, not be able to recover?
Thank you, Honorable George. Mr. Stevenson.
Well, I think I would think subsequent to following that logic, then why are we saying that the management and staff shall be liable as opposed to the supervisory entity? Because if they're going to be defense is going to be managed by the state, why are we specifying management and staff? Because it should be the entity, it should be the central bank or the FIU as a legal entity, not the management or the staff. Because then I can follow that logic along those lines there.
Well, the answer is very simple. You have direct liability, which is the individual, and you have vicarious liability, which is the entity employing the individual. I don't sue SPTC when a bus knocks over a pedestrian. I sue the driver, and the driver, having been found liable, SPTC then, in its vicarious activity, pays the driver. That's why it's the staff. You have to, it's both. One is directly liable for the act, and the other one is vicariously liable as the employer of the person committing the act.
Yes, Mr. Stevenson.
No, I understand. I understand that, but I think there's, in some jurisdictions, there's been case law precedents where under the same kind of concept, and I think they moved away from this and tried to protect it, was because in some places where an actual individual was sued under the context that you're saying, or they sued the individual, and it's represented by the state, but it actually impeded that individual be able to qualify for a mortgage, because when they went for a credit reporter like this, they had all these lawsuits against them because they're the ones that were faced in the lawsuits. So they tried to have this kind of protection clause along those lines. So, because actually there was, I think, the Secretary of State, because every time a prisoner sued in the state of California for, treatment, they sued the Secretary of State of California, and he applied for a mortgage and was disqualified by the financial institution because he had so many litigations against him. So I think they were in that context that they were trying to protect. I guess we're trying to find that balance between, we don't want people not to do their job just because they're afraid of of civil litigation. I think that's why we had that, go back to the good faith. So I guess we're trying to struggle to find that balance.
Honorable George?
I think it's an American concept that sits uneasily in our situation. And I understand. We see every day when somebody who is an employee of the White House does something, he has to go, or he or she has to go and retain counsel and be liable to pay themselves. That's fine. We would understand that in that context, but that's not the context here. Here, and I think everybody agrees, that the moment these people are working for the state will step up and defend them, and if they are found liable, pay. So there's no risk. They are fully and completely indemnified, if in good faith. If they're in bad faith, that's a completely different matter.
Thank you. Honorable Pillay?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I'm going to propose we remove that or any civil litigation from the clause. Yeah, because the reason being that you cannot, you need to have a check. Whether you're doing the act in good faith, you need to have a check. I mean, the context here is very different from the U.S., so we remove it from the law so that at least people know that they can have cause for action if they feel something that was done against them was not done in good faith. And then it will be up to the authority in question to prove that it was done in good faith. And if responsible, then that authority will pay. And if that authority feels that the person that did the action, the staff or member or officer, did not do it in good faith, then you as the authority, you can take action against that person. So I think I know you want to protect what they are doing, but don't extend that protection to the point where you create the potential for abuse of office. And then nobody can seek redress for that abuse of office. It's very important.
Thank you, Honorable. Panel, agree pour nous civil litigation? Are we in agreement? Minister?
Merci, Monsieur Chairman. The hour is late. We will agree. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. So, no retire civil litigation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. I now continue.
Yes, Mr. Chair. It would be 98.1, 98.2, 98.3.
Yes, tous les trois.
Okay, so we were on the point raised by SIFSA. We'll go back to that point. I hope nobody else has any, well, unless any other members raising any queries. So we go to section 100, and specifically subsection 2. And SIFSA has raised a concern whereby SIFSA strongly suggests that the guidelines, regulations, appointment of personnel, etc. be changed in sync with the new law. The argument, they say, that there may be other officers appointed under the existing AML Act, 2006, as amended, who may be under investigation under FPAC or Anti-Corruption Commission. And the subsection 2 they're referring to is, notwithstanding the repeal of the Anti-Money Laundering Act, any appointments of personnel, regulations, determinations, authorizations, and guidelines made under that act shall continue to operate until they are amended, repealed, or reissued under the provisions of this act. So basically, SIFSA is saying that anyone who's holding an office currently within the new act, there needs to be some changes made, given that some of them may be under investigation by the ACCS and perhaps other law enforcement agency. Thank you.
Panel, Mr. Stevenson.
Apologies, Mr. Speaker, but just to go back to 98.1, did we actually delete in 98.1 the civil litigation? Because in 98.1, it refers to reporting entities. Are we applying that same logic to the reporting entity? Because now we're assuming that the reporting entity, that they will cover the cost of the civil litigation for their employees? Is that is that government, that's a statutory obligation as well? Okay, just wanted to make sure that.
Okay. Panel concern raised on section 102, clause 102.
Mr. Chair, quelquefois, sa provision qui est mettée dans sa saving provision, jusqu'à la loi est repeal après reissue in the provision, mais mon quoi concerne les districts qui peut dire tout bon officiers qui peut gagner existing dans la loi, qui peut gagner investiguer dans aucun les autres la loi, et mon quoi ça est couvert bien en bas procédure PSO qui existait aujourd'hui. So, je ne peux pas voir quelquefois l'intérêt pour nous inclure additionnel provision de sa existing la loi. À cause de ça, on dit pour continuer comment travailler, mais however, si dans l'investigation, il y a un couvert en procédure PSO pareil, nous follow.
Mais CSS, honorable Pilet.
Oui, Mr. Chair, but notwithstanding that LONAC, il y en a law enforcement agency et CCS et FCI aussi là. So obviously, s'il y a aucun staff ou bien aucun monde qui a l'investigation, NAC would be, je connais CCS pas quoi le devoir son qu'est-ce que CCS will object to having somebody qui déjà un an et quelque chose contre lui to retain sa position s'il peut faire ce travail en relation avec sa la loi. So je crois qu'il y a un safeguard, je crois que NAC is the important safeguards qui est en place pour l'élection. So avec ça, Mr. Chairman, nous move to the next point.
First schedule.
Yes. So this is the first schedule part
Yes,
two.
un
Honorable
moment,
George
un
and
moment,
I-
honorable. Honorable George.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before we move to the schedule, I'd just like to inform everybody that the transitional provisions that we agreed to yesterday
Yes.
will very likely be 100,
And one.
clause 100, subclause 4. We'll introduce it
Yes.
in here so that it's as a whole. Thank you.
Honorable Pilet. Nous pouvons insert,
Yes.
yes,
So après
transition
3
period.
before, yeah.
Yes. Ou peut gagner son wording pour mettre honorable George?
Oui, nous sommes d'accord là, mon crois, nous pouvons mettre, Mr. Chair, 104, notwithstanding any other provisions of this Act, every reporting entity shall comply, etc. Pareil, nous sommes dit.
D'accord.
Et il y en a 4 qui ont approuvé hier. We'll leave these in here, and the others will go.
Thank you. Mr. Rampal, you okay? You good? Okay, honorable Pilet.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Nous le first schedule part 2. A concern is to remove, as it is a repetition of Part B, a license under the International Corporate Service Provider Act. Pendant qu'il comprend what is being asked, à cause il déjà apparaît là-bas, so.
Yes, Ms. Hall.
Merci, Mr. Chair. Bonjour tout le monde. Je juste envie de faire ressortir qui Part B, sa référence to ICSP Act about Part C of the first schedule is linked avec the definition of DNFBPs about Part 1 of the Act. Côté, il linked avec the interpretation of DNFBPs. Et activité qui gagne entreprendre par bon licenses en bas de la loi, et actuellement gagne considéré en bas activité qui gagne linked to DNFBPs. So this is the reason why nous clearly, et pas une répétition, mais plutôt il linked avec sa définition. Merci.
Merci, Ms. Hall. Honorable Pillay.
Merci, Mr. Chair. Nous pouvons approcher la fin. The next concern is in relation to paragraph 8. The whole paragraph, according to the trade, this is their concern, the whole paragraph should be removed in its entirety, as the described activity shall be first licensed in order for the entity to be a reporting entity. Activities of other reporting entities are licensed. Why this one is included without being licensed? So they're saying is everyone has a license, so why is this one included with that one? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Ms. Hall.
Merci, honorable. Again, ça est linked avec ça l'explication qui m'ont donné plus bonnet. It's about the activities and services linked to the definition of DNFBPs. That is why it's included under Part C, because corporate service providers, the services they provide are considered to be activité et services qui sont offered by DNFBPs and non-financial institutions. Merci.
Merci. Honorable Pillay.
Merci, Mr. Chair. So, explanation has been given. The next concern is in relation to paragraph 1.2. To replace the term liquidator with insolvency liquidator. Mon honorable George expliqué any liquidator is an insolvency liquidator in the last meeting, but I think he has another point in regards to that. Thank you.
Honorable George.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. There is no such animal as an insolvency liquidator. A liquidator is a liquidator appointed under the Companies Act, the IBA, or the Foundation Act. So I would suggest that we stay with liquidator. But there is another issue, and that is that we now have an Insolvency Act, 2013, so maybe we should include it. A lot of the Companies Act has now been transferred to the Insolvency Act. In fact, winding up is one of them where you appoint liquidators. So should we have the Companies Act, Insolvency Act, International Business Act, and Foundations Act? Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Pillay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Paragraph 4, SIFSA recommends or suggests that the licensed secretary should be listed as a reporting entity. Licensed secretary should be listed as a reporting entity.
Panel.
Mr. Chair, quelquefois, pour le ça concerne license secretary, proposition aussi que nous pouvons faire en bas partie, c'est pour mettre number 9 comme un resident agent, the same definition, pareil était dans beneficial ownership bill. So,
It will cover licensed secretary also.
so il peut couvrir sa license secretary as well.
Honorable Pillay.
So you are making an addition to Part C. So you're inserting a new 9 in Part C, correct? Can you give us the wording for that?
Mr. Rampal.
Merci, Mr. Chair. Bonjour tout, Madame Honorable. Pour ça, nous avons un concept en bas bill, which is the resident agent. Given qu'il y a une nouvelle responsabilité qui est supposée collecter l'information, le beneficial ownership here in Seychelles, equally irrelevant pour les autres bien reporting entity en bas de l'IML Act. Et l'endroit approprié qui est pour tomber, les autres pour tomber à partie dans le schedule, et nous pouvons proposer to have a paragraph 9, which would state the resident agent.
Mr. Rao.
It should be resident agent under the Beneficial Ownership Act 2020. It should be resident agent under the Beneficial Ownership Act 2020. 2020.
2020.
2020.
OK. Honorable Pilet.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And that says a secretary appointed under Section 179 of the Companies Act. And that will cover the concern raised by the trade. And then finally, some very strong comments from SIFSA, which I think has some merit. SIFSA strongly recommends that car dealers be included as a reporting entity, and the threshold should also be 50,000 rupees, as there are products of this value, such as motorbikes, which is well known in drug carrier business. The monetary threshold cannot be different for specific entities. So going back to what they are saying, so we've seen a lot of concern raised dans l'Assemblée, beaucoup de membres cause là, ça ban scooter gagne servi as carriers et même NB parfois une cause là. C'est ça qui ça peut dire, ban car dealers aussi devraient gagner clé. Et threshold il devrait pareil à cause ça ban scooter ils vendent moins qui 50 000 roupies, 32 000, 33 000 roupies.
Yes.
So.
Thank you, Honorable. Panel. SS.
Mr. Chair, quelquefois, basé sur l'email qui SIFSA a envoyé lundi soir, je disregard the comments qu'ils ont fait pour le Hakopona. But however, this advice qui car dealers, il y a high value dealers définition.
Honorable Pilet.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Malheureusement, je n'ai pas gagné ça email, so je vais according to sa recommandation. Qui m'a croit si fait sens, et obviously, then, Ministère Finance fait le nécessaire pour expliquer qu'il y en a ça élément. So the last one was going to be the recommendation for the 6th schedule. Mais je crois que nous finissons handle the 6th schedule depuis bonnet, because we talked about sort of going from a listing approach to an open crimes approach. And then there would be then a few other amendments that needs to be made. But we are finished with the schedule and the comments given to us. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Honorable Georges Pété, il y a encore une déclaration additionnelle il a ajouté. And Mr. Chairman, we've also been given a proposition for amendment to insert a proposed definition of funds in the law. Thank you.
OK. Nous, est-ce que... Oui. Est-ce que nous prenons un vote le part 12? Oui. Nous pouvons prendre un vote part 12, miscellaneous provisions, qui compris clause 95 jusqu'à 100, as amended. OK? Qui ne font pas de sa bill, je vais demander tout le monde qui est en faveur. Aucun membre qui compte. Madame Deputy Clerk.
Merci, Mr. Chair. Je recorde 24 membres qui votent en faveur et personne contre. Merci.
Merci, Madame Deputy Clerk. Ça veut dire par 12 miscellaneous provisions et approuvé par l'Assemblée. Il y en a sa proposition pour ça, pour insert ou bien pour ça fait funds, meaning of funds. Il peut tomber dans the
panel amendment, Mr.
panel.
Chairman.
Yes, okay. Panel. Ms. Hall.
Merci, Mr. Chair. Hier, nous avons eu une discussion avec nos counterparts, Isamlag, more specifically, et ils ont fait une recommandation qui nous amène une définition of funds qui n'est pas juste couvert banking activities, but all activities. Nous réalisons que l'Assemblée, the committee has already approved the interpretation part, mais we're just making an appeal qu'ils ont consider the new proposal, a new interpretation for funds to be to mean assets of every kind, whether corporeal or incorporeal, tangible or intangible, movable or immovable, however acquired, and legal documents or instruments in any form, including electronic or digital, evidencing title to or interest in such assets. Merci.
Okay, aucun commentaire? from the floor? No? We need a vote on this, OK? Est-ce que nous pouvons prendre un vote? En bas, qui section il pour entrer là? En bas, qui... Oui, OK, definitions, d'accord. Bon, nous pouvons... Est-ce que nous pouvons prendre un vote c'est un amendement qui est proposé par le panel pour il tombe en bas definition section 2. Il donne une description funds. On va demander tout le monde qui est en faveur. Aucun membre qui compte. Madame la députée Clark.
Merci, Mr. Chair. Je record 22 membres qui votent en faveur et personne contre. Merci.
Merci, Madame la députée Clark. Ça veut dire que c'est un amendement approuvé par l'Assemblée. Bon, nous... Yes, SS Payet? SS?
Mr. Chair, je connais, il y a 10 autres provisions qui nous ont discuté. Je connais, c'est un conseil yesterday. Ça issue 30 years. Qui me croit, on a mentionné encore this morning. 47.3. Et nous pouvons proposer qui soit spécifique pour banks, bureaux d'échange, insurance companies, après securities exchange infrastructures. So, si nous sommes capables de mettre une nouvelle provision en bas 47.3, qui nous a fait les 47.3N, après nous mettons l'autre provision 47.3D en bas. C'est pour faire les spécifiques pour sa bonne catégorie.
Yes, Honorable Ferrari.
Mr. Speaker, pour dire que honorable de Ritin, qui nous a sorti là-dessus. That was one of the points qui he wanted to move, and nous remercions pour entertain sa point, s'il vous plaît. Merci beaucoup.
Okay. OK, aucun commentaire? Honorable George?
Si SS est capable this remind nous of his amendment, Mr. Chair,
Oui.
ne va faire.
SS? The wording?
Now, how you are incorporating?
Mr. Chair, if I'm going l'assistance des drafters, il pour 47.3 et nous propose 47.3 in 1. Après, nous mettons l'autre component.
Subsection 3 reads like this. Notwithstanding any other law, the records mentioned in subsection 1 shall be kept for a period of 30 years in digital form from the date on which the business relationship ceases, relating to banks, bureau de changes, insurance
and securities.
and securities institutions.
So we don't need the three.
Yes, Honorable Pillay?
Mr. Chair, ça qui est assassin dit, c'est que sa provision apply juste pour la banque. But relating to est différent là. Non, relating to would mean transactions qui sont dit peut faire qui relate to avec la banque, relate to ça. So you want it to be applicable to banks. So besoin dit, to just simply say subsection 3 shall apply to, and then on va lister sa banque qui apply to. On va pas dire relating to. Then it would mean que si mon fait transaction, mon avocat mon fait transfert avec la banque. On besoin still got sa record. Is that what you want to say? Does it apply to banks as an entity? Or does it apply to transactions that I make to banks, to money changers, etc.? I think you mean it as an entity, but if it's relating to, it doesn't convey the same meaning. So we have to reword that.
Honorable George?
Yes, let's do so. If it's just banks and bureau de change, we don't need 1 and 2. We can just say by banks and bureau de change. It's simple as that. Or if there are more, by the following entities, and we'll list the entities. Yeah? There'll be 4 of them. Yes, and we'll do it here. And then, and we don't need a separate. Yep, fine. Okay, so we'll get the list. Thanks, Bureau de Change. Yeah, we'll just have to get the wording, whether we call it banks or financial institutions or whatever, and we'll just put those 4 in there. If you trust us, we can pass the amendment, and then we'll put it in.
OK, d'accord. Bon, on va prendre un vote sur l'autre amendement. Et nous trust que Honorable George, avec legal draftsperson, will do the correct wording. On va prendre un vote sur l'amendement encore. Tout le monde qui est en faveur? Aucun membre qui compte? Madame Deputy Clerk?
Merci, Mr. Chair. 24 membres, ils votent en faveur et personne contre. Merci.
Merci, Madame Deputy Clerk. Any other comments ou bien amendements? Avant de move dans l'autre stage. OK? Non? Bon, sinon, on va bouger dans l'autre stage et on va demander un sage pour move miss pour nous faire third reading. Nous finissons vote tout amendement par section, par différents parts, so we don't have to take a vote on the bill as amended. Voting fini quand il prend. So, je vais demander motion for third reading.
Merci, Monsieur Speaker. Bonjour, Monsieur Speaker. Bonjour, ministre, secteur délégation et tout le monde honorable et tout le monde qui écoute. Monsieur Speaker, en bas order 71-1, nous standing order, moi les move qui the Anti-Money Laundering and Countering the Financing of Terrorism Bill 2020. As amended, il y a dit une troisième fois. Merci.
Merci, honorable Komamo. Quel membre qui secondé? Yes, honorable Benedicta.
Merci, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, bonjour. Ministre de délégation, bon collègue honorable, bonjour. Mr. Speaker, motion gagne secondé.
Merci, honorable Benedicta. Bon, on va prendre un vote pour third reading. Tout le monde qui est en faveur? Aucun membre qui compte? Madame Deputy Clerk?
Merci, Mr. Chair. 24 membres, ils votent en faveur et personne contre. Merci.
Merci, Madame Deputy Clerk. Nous avons gagné formal third reading.
Merci, Mr. Speaker. This act may be cited as the Anti-Money Laundering and Countering the Financing of Terrorism Act 2020 and shall come into operation on such date as the minister may, by notice in the Gazette, appoint and different dates may be appointed for different provisions of the act. Merci, Mr. Speaker.
Merci, Madame Deputy Clerk. Ça veut dire bill qui devant nous, bill number 2 of 2020, il est approuvé par l'Assemblée nationale. Bon, nous pour... Yes, Honorable Ferrari?
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to make a suggestion in the interest of time management. Why don't we break now and come back at 1? Instead of going out, having a cup of coffee, coming back again.
Bon, ministre pour besoin présente le bill. OK? Il pas un gros bill. Sinon, nous retourne 11h30. Ministre présente son bill. OK? Si on a un ou bien dès qu'il fait une petite intervention, then we come back at 2, par l'habitude. Et nous faisons nos bons travail, nos bons amendements and all that. OK? So, nous break, nous retournons 11h30. OK? 11h30 pour le ministre présente the next bill. Thank you.